What's up everyone, and welcome to this episode of Revive Outdoors. If this is your first time to our channel or if you are a returning guest, thank you so much for stopping by today. In today's episode, we're going to talk about my two favorite mounts. I'm going to talk to you about the reason why they're my favorite mounts and why you should look at getting a red dot on your shotgun for turkey season if you're someone who hasn't made that move yet. If you are already using a red dot, maybe on a Picatinny rail, you may want to consider this receiver mount option or this rib mount option from Meadow Creek Mounts. As always, you can use code REVIVE at meadowcreekmounts.com. It'll get you a 10% off discount, and then they will make a donation back to our mission here at Revive Outdoors, which you can learn more about at the end of this episode. In today's episode, we're going to talk about the rib mount, and then we're going to talk about this low profile receiver mount. I personally have ran this rib mount for quite some time now, I think about 5 years, and I have yet to miss a turkey with this setup. Before, I was running a bead and I wouldn't get my head down all the way, and I was about 50-50 on shooting turkeys versus hitting them versus missing them. And so I was not very good with the bead because I had used a red dot before so much that I wasn't accustomed to getting my head down like I needed to. So this has saved my turkey hunting adventures. I am now over 20 birds in with this red dot, maybe even more, and I have been super successful with it, and I know that you would be the same. So we'll talk about why I love this and why I use it. And then we're also going to talk about this receiver mount. This is their brand new receiver mount for 2025. We're going to talk about why it is such a great mount and why you may consider this as something that you want to purchase for your red dot setup. So we got two here that are super easy to install, super easy to use. I'm going to talk about the features and benefits of each one. We'll start with the rib mount and then we'll move over to the receiver mount. If this is your first time seeing a rib mount, you are in for a treat because Meadow Creek Mounts came out with this about 4 or 5 years ago, and they were the pioneers in this space. And so before, you had to have your receiver drilled and tapped, or it had to come already installed, drilled and tapped with the Picatinny on it for you to get a red dot setup. What Meadow Creek Mounts did is they created a clamped style mount that clamps down on the ribs and does not go anywhere. I have not touched this since the day that I installed it, and it has held on at zero unless I have purposely moved it. And so I've moved it for hogs, I've moved it for turkeys, I've moved it for deer. Depending on what choke I'm using, what load I'm using, I have adjusted it accordingly. But right now I have it set up for turkey season. I have my True Lock choke in here, and then I have the red dot. And this red dot right here is the AT3 Tactical Red Dot. The reason I got this is because I was broke when I bought it and I wasn't sure if I was gonna like it, and they were brand new, so nobody had tested it yet. So I got the rib mount, I got the cheapest combo that they made with the red dot plus the rib mount, and I locked it in and haven't changed it since. Like I said earlier in the episode, I have tagged over 20 turkeys with this, maybe even more, and I have been super successful. I haven't missed one yet, and so I'm keeping my fingers crossed that I can keep the streak alive. But what I wanted to talk about with this rib mount is the reason that I like it so much is the field of view. And so a lot of people don't like it out here on the ribs because they think it's too far away. But in reality, once you put that up in your cheek weld and you see the field of view that it increases versus what it would typically be like when it's back here on the receiver, I personally like that more. And so when you get your head down on it, you can still see the red dot just fine. So you can see your target, but you have this increased field of view because you don't have a red dot that's closer to you that's blocking it. If I had a red dot here, I would be blocked about 10 yards to my left and 10 yards to my right, so I'd have to lower the gun or I'd have to move the gun left or right to be able to see a turkey that was straight out in front of me. Where with this, I have the ability to keep my head down, keep it right on where I need to aim until it is time to tag that turkey or whatever other animal that I am chasing. So that's why I personally love the rib mount. A lot of people have been concerned that maybe their eyesight wouldn't allow them to see that red dot out here versus having it closer. And everybody that I have seen that maybe had that hesitation has then used it and not had that hesitation anymore. They've been very happy with it being out here on the rib because they see that increased field of view. But if you are somebody who is wanting to back that up and have it on your receiver, maybe your receiver is already drilled and tapped, or maybe you're going to get it drilled and tapped, you will want to look at the low profile receiver mount that Meadow Creek Mounts has came out with this year. The reason that you'd want to look at that over a Picatinny rail is because a Picatinny rail is going to have to mount here, and then the red dot's going to have to go on top of it. So your natural cheek weld that you're going to get in the stock of your gun is going to be down low, and then that red dot's going to be high. So you're going to have to free float your head a little bit when you're aiming. Where if you have that low profile mount on your receiver from Meadow Creek Mounts, then you can get your head down on it and you can see, and it's going to be nice and in line. So what I'll do now that you have seen the rib mount on here, I'll move over to the receiver mount and get the details on that laid out for you. If you want to see the specific details on this receiver mount, I have a set aside video specifically for it that you can go check out after you've watched this one. But this right here is the new low profile receiver mount from Meadow Creek Mounts. What I love about this is you do not have to install a Picatinny rail and then put your red dot on top of it. So when you put your head down on the gun, it's naturally going to rest on that gun stock where it needs to. You're going to be looking right down at that red dot. Again, it is a little closer to you. I have 2 holes here that I could have mounted it to, and then I have 2 holes here. I actually moved it up to the forward 2 holes, the ones that would be further away from me, so I'd have that increased field of view similar to what I have on my rib mount that you just saw previously. If you did back it up, you would lose a little bit of your field of view. It would be blocked by the red dot itself, but then if you're But if you have a receiver that is drilled and tapped like this one, you have 2 holes here and 2 holes here, you can move it up if you want to, or you can keep it back. So when I put my head down on this, my field of view that I'm losing is only about 2 to 3 yards on the left and the right that I would have to adjust it, which is pretty minimal when it comes to your hunt. But if I had it backed up here, again, I'm going to lose that 10 yards to the left and 10 yards to the right. Then I'm going to have to maneuver that around to be able to see that turkey. So for me, I like it out there. But when you are looking at this versus a Picatinny rail, you're going to have that head kind of floating there and not be able to get that really good cheek weld in that gun stock because it's going to be so much higher. So that's why this low profile receiver mount is so good, and it's something that most people are going to desire over the Picatinny setup. Another thing that you want to look at when you're looking at these receiver mounts is the lugs that it has. So these have 4 lugs on there, so it's going to hold that red dot, and then you have the lugs that it is going to hold the actual screws for the red dot that go in. So it's got 6 total lugs that are going to hold in there. That way you know that that red dot is not going anywhere. And then for me, what I did is I put Loctite on the screws that hold the receiver mount onto the receiver, and then I just screwed down the red dot into that. It has separate screws and then what come with the red dot that Greg sends you everything that you need when it goes to installing this. But for me, this is my ideal setup. If I did not have the ability to mount on my ribs, I would definitely be going with this low profile receiver mount. But for me, I really love my rib mount shotgun. So if I have a choice, I'm going with the rib mount. But if you're somebody who wants it back here, that's perfectly fine. Greg now has that option available for you. He also now has the Vortex Viper available on his website. That is the new low profile enclosed red dot that Vortex makes. So if you want to grab that on his website, he has that as a third option for you as well. But if you have any questions, please ask those in the comments. I'm more than happy to answer those for you. And if I don't have the answer, Greg will, and we'll get him to comment and answer any questions that y'all may have. Please comment what you prefer. Do you prefer the rib mount, or do you prefer the receiver mount on your shotgun? Or are you just an old school purist bead hunter that you will never use a red dot? Honestly, I don't even know why you'd be watching this video, but hey, you're here. So comment what you love, comment what you want to see in future episodes. Ask those questions. We're here to help. We thank you again for watching, and we'll see you on the next episode. Our channel, I just wanted to tell you a little bit about who we are and what we do. So Revive Outdoors is a Christian-based nonprofit nonprofit located in Birmingham, Alabama, and we teach adults how to hunt. So our mission statement is that we make a positive and eternal impact through conservation, so through doing what we love. And the way that we do that is we teach adults how to hunt through a hunting 101 workshop, and then once they have those skills built in that workshop, they then qualify for a one-on-one mentored hunt with our staff. And while they are on that mentored hunt, we're going to just identify where they're at in their walk with the Lord and get them to take a next step. So sometimes that's towards salvation, getting involved with our team, getting involved with their local church community, or multiple other ways that they can connect spiritually. We also want to identify where they're at mentally and help them take that next step. So since 2020, we have seen 372 adults come through our entire workshop and one-on-one mentorship process, our entire mentorship program. We've seen 372 adults come through it. Out of those, we've helped connect 110 of those adults to mental health counseling. And then a little bit of a drum roll, come on. We've had 52 people come to know the Lord through Jesus Christ, and we cannot do it without support like you. And the way that you support us is obviously you can donate, but when you use these discount codes or you use these links, it is not only helping you get a discount, but it is also letting that company know you've seen our video and you want to support us as well. So when you make those purchases with our discount codes, it is going to let that company know, and then they are going to make a donation back to us here at Revive Outdoors. So we are all supporting our mission together. Since the 80s, hunting has declined 57%. So if you imagine 6 out of 10 of your hunting buddies being gone, that is how much it has declined. And our goal is to reverse that number, and we can't do it without support like you. We hope you have enjoyed this episode today. We thank you again for supporting our mission, and we'll see you on the next one.